Today on Marketing Update, Gene Simmons gives a tongue kiss to social media, fun and games for small business, and gold medal tweeting. All this and much, much more on Marketing Update.
Welcome to the Marketing Update, your source for what's hot and what's not in the world of marketing. I'm Ellie Mirman.
And I'm Andrew Quinn, and we're coming to you live from Cambridge, Massachusetts.
I'm not sure everyone in the audience applauded right there.
No.
Not going to call out names, but I'm just going to say we're watching you. Yep.
Do it again. Cambridge, Massachusetts. There we go. That was a little better.
A little better. All right. As
It's a
usual.
lazy Friday afternoon.
It is. It's a weird summer day. Not a lot of people in the office, that sort of thing. So that means you all have to interact with us on Twitter. Hashtag is MKTGUp. We want to hear from you during the show and after. And old episodes are on iTunes. You can watch them and give us 5-star reviews because those are our favorites. And then come on by every Friday at 4 p.m. You're welcome to come in, grab a drink, grab a seat, and watch the show live.
Ellie, today's episode is going to be at the Olympic level.
Oh, yes. We did talk about how we were going to start low and work our way up
And
gradually.
indeed we have.
Over the
Today is a gold medal round.
summer. Ooh.
So let's get down to business, shall we? Marketing business.
What's our first story, Andrew?
Our first story is an epic one. And it is really a historic moment.
Oh,
in
is that
social
right?
media, yes. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the rock band Kiss. Yes. You say to yourself, obscure 70s rock band or new millennium powerhouse? Which do you think it is?
The latter.
Indeed,
Am I right? Yes.
indeed.
And it's
So-
fitting that you're covering this story.
Of course, because I was a huge Kiss fan when I was just a lad, in my, my room with my tennis racket, putting on my Gene Simmons makeup
Nice.
and rocking out.
I can actually picture that.
Of course you can.
Totally.
It's exceptional. Well, they've launched a tour this summer. They're back in full makeup, which they have been for a while now, which is pretty cool. But they're on tour with Motley Crue, 40-city tour. What's interesting is they've now incorporated social media into the event. So they've actually launched the Kiss Social Hub, and it aggregates Facebook comments, tweets, Google+, all into one platform. What's really cool about it is that in real time, it translates into 53 languages, because Kiss is global.
Of course.
Of course. So Gene, right, always the marketer, he looks at it as it allows all Kiss fans to connect in their native tongue.
Nice.
No pun intended there, I'm reaching, what do you want? So it's pretty cool because Kiss fans in France or Japan, they can, tweet to the band or, comment on Facebook, and translates instantly so the band can react, create a better connection with the fans.
It takes global communications even further, right? Social media is all about allowing you to communicate with anyone at any time, but now you don't even have to speak the same language,
Exactly.
at least if you're a fan of Kiss.
What's cool is their social hub. It's powered by Ortsbo. I'd never heard of this before.
Yeah, me neither.
Apparently it's a real-time communications platform. It's got over 200 million members. And it allows this type of interlanguage collaboration. So Kiss, of all people, have taken advantage of it. And of course, when you go to the social hub, plenty of merch opportunities there, because Gene's always one to sell the Kiss merchandise.
Well, they're so smart. They're taking something that's super popular, like social media, and bringing people from these popular networks to their site. They have something super unique, but where they're translating all of this content, aggregating it.
And
so it's a unique thing.
Yeah, and that's where I think this truly becomes a Kiss-storic moment, as I said earlier. So the marketing takeaway here is Gene Simmons knows how to sell stuff. All right, he's been selling stuff, been selling the band. I mean, it's fairly mediocre music, but man, they've made a fortune selling that stuff. So the bottom line is if he thinks social media can build your brand, odds are he's right. So get involved in the conversation, embrace social media, and use it to build your brand too.
We should just follow Gene in all
Follow
of his
Gene's
marketing
lead.
moves.
I know I do.
All right, another big brand taking advantage of social media. This is about big brands using social media to do some consumer research. We've already talked about how social media has all this great consumer data. People are talking about your product. You can listen in. It's free. Well, now we've got Frito-Lay taking advantage of that. they're using social media basically to replace focus groups. They've got a new Facebook app that allows you to say, I'd eat that for different flavors.
That's going to get a little freaky.
Yeah.
I can only imagine some of the flavors that have been suggested. I'm not even going to say them out loud, the things that are running through my head. But
that's the thing. People can also suggest their own flavors.
Of course they can.
And then say, I'd eat that. Not to name any inappropriate flavors, but I will give you guys some examples. They've so far found that beer battered onion ring flavor is popular in California and Ohio.
See, I would have clearly guessed it would have been a health food flavor.
Yeah,
not beer battered onion rings. Maybe
they want to
avocado aloe something.
Oh, that does not sound good.
No, it doesn't at all.
And then there was a churros flavor, was a big hit in New York.
Do we know what a churros is?
I've never had them, but
I haven't either.
Apparently they're really popular in New York.
And they'd make a great chip.
Yeah. I know that in Canada, pickle and ketchup flavor chips are hugely popular.
Have you had them?
I have, just to taste them.
And do you like them?
No. It's super weird.
So
I mean,
it is a Canadian thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think that there was talk of them maybe bringing them down here. I don't know. Anyway, to
well,
get
they
back
can test it with their new social media focus group.
Exactly. So other companies are also doing similar things. We've got Estee Lauder is using social media to let people request or vote for bringing back different discontinued shades of makeup.
I need to get on that right now.
Yeah.
They need to bring Dusty Rose back.
Now's your chance. They're
These
listening
lips
to
have
you.
never been the same without that color.
That's right. And Sam Adams is letting people, they basically crowdsourced a new beer flavor. They let people vote on the different, hops, yeast, all of that to create this new beer flavor, which ended up being super popular, not surprisingly. Although I don't know if, maybe they have like actual people who know what makes a good beer steering it a little bit.
Because that sounds like chip flavoring, like some weirdness could
Exactly.
happen there too.
Yeah. And then Walmart's doing some cool stuff. They are studying Twitter to catch different trends. So last year they acquired a social media company called Cosmics, and they're all about mining social media for different trends. So what they're trying to do is, catch on the different trends and stock products accordingly. So last year, I guess, cake pops got super popular. Starbucks.
What's a cake pop?
Cake pops are little, do you like balls of cake on a lollipop stick? Yes. And Starbucks started selling them, and they got super popular.
Have you had one?
I have.
And did you like it?
Of course.
I sound like I would love cake pops.
Who doesn't, really? It's like a little piece of cake, and it's like surrounded by chocolate.
Does it fall off the stick, or does it
No,
actually...
the chocolate that surrounds it keeps it on there.
Fascinating.
Yeah. This is like a culinary show, too, today.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's all about the snacks.
So they started, so Walmart took that trend data and started stocking molds for making cake pops.
So you can make your own cake pops?
Exactly.
Have you ever made cake pops?
I have not, but I actually have friends who have.
I think you're going to make some and bring them to HubSpot TV.
I could.
But
Sometimes
will you?
I bring cookies and tarts and
That'd
things.
be fantastic.
Yeah. Once again, culinary show. So they started stocking different products. They've been doing really interesting stuff there. And generally, it's just a great way to get consumer feedback. Some of the execs at these companies were saying it's great because it gives you access to a wider range of consumers, whereas focus groups, largely an older audience. The newer generations don't even know how to participate.
Have you ever done a focus group?
I have not.
I actually was on a list about 6 or 7 years ago where I did probably 15 of them.
Whoa.
They would call me up every 3 months or so and say, hey, I've got this product, we're doing a focus group, $75, come on down, sit in a room, and there's like 5 other people, 10 other people, and somebody presenting it. It's kind of an odd thing because in many ways, there's always a dominant personality in the room, and they're kind of forcing the conversation relative to whether or not they like the product. Really kind of an odd situation, I think, to make marketing decisions because your data is kind of limited in a lot of ways. This seems like it gives you a much broader and more accurate rendering of what people are actually interested in.
Yeah, it definitely does. You can use social media to reach a much larger audience, and on top of that, it's a lot cheaper, meaning free. These companies, they're just using free data and learning how to make sense of it.
If it's free, it's for me.
Exactly. And it's for you too. So the marketing takeaway here is social media has piles upon piles of great consumer data. Think about how you can use it to improve your products.
Speaking of snack foods, we're going to move on to gamification for small business. And you may say to yourself, well, where does snack foods come into play there?
I don't know. Where does it?
Well, I'm going to get right to that. So there's a lot of gamification going on these days. You hear about like Farmville and Mafia Wars. Of course, on your smartphone, you got things like Angry Birds, Words with Friends, Bejeweled, all those kinds of games. So think about that. Let's say you have one of those games and you really like playing it. Wouldn't it be cool if you could get a real-time reward for playing that game? Like if you got 3 stars on Angry Birds, like Space Level 2, which I just did.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's been awesome. But anyway, it would be cool if I could win awards for all that work.
Like
right?
real prizes.
Exactly. Well, there's this startup out in San Francisco. It's called Keep, K-I-I-P. Really cool app they've come up with. And basically what it allows companies to do is embed rewards into games. So one of the companies that recently signed on was a company called Pop Chips.
Oh, I know Pop Chips.
Ever heard of Pop Chips?
Yeah, they give them out on JetBlue.
Absolutely. So it's a cool chip, and what's different is it's never fried, never baked. They actually make it with this sort of heat and pressure system, so it keeps the flavor in, but it doesn't introduce all the icky stuff with oil, unlike baked where it gets all flavorless. It's supposed to be fantastic, but they're a very regional, local manufacturer. And they're competing with Frito-Lay and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
They're saying, how can we market more effectively? So they hooked up with Keep, and now what they do is when you're playing a mobile phone game and you complete a certain level or something occurs, a little pop-up happens and it tells you, hey, great job at that particular level, here's a free bag of Pop Chips. And you click on it and it gives you a coupon on the phone with a barcode, and then I can walk into the store with the bag of chips and go, here you go, and you get a free bag. Well, the CMO of Pop Chips said they've seen a 40% increase in sales.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was the thing. If you're starting to give these out as prizes, do people start associating Pop Chips with winning?
Which is that's a really cool
Right?
association, right? I win the game, I get Pop Chips. It's just like the Skinner box getting the little
Exactly.
pellet feeder coming out with the, whatever. I'm getting all, psychological. and whatnot.
Psychology.
Yeah, who knows?
Right.
Starbucks is starting doing the same thing. It's really, I think, a clever idea and a way to take an activity that people are engaged in and couple marketing in a way that is not intrusive.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not an advertisement, it's a prize.
Right, it's an actual reward,
Yeah.
which gives you the opportunity to trial the product.
Yeah.
So the takeaway here is there are lots of new ways to connect with buyers and sellers that are being created all the time. Gamification really does deserve a look. If you're selling a product, you might just want to find a new way to introduce that product to your audience and see if you can connect it in some way to their favorite game. It would be really an interesting way to drive sales.
We should try something like that. Yeah.
Let's get all Olympic, shall we?
We shall. Of course, we can't go this entire show without talking about the Olympics, and there are so many great stories
Time
to cover.
for the medal round.
Yes. Are you ready?
I am.
So, the Olympics this year are breaking all sorts of records. Obviously, there are people breaking records in the Olympics, probably. I don't really
Lots of them, actually.
Yes.
Tons of
There we go.
swimming records are falling.
Oh,
It's fantastic. You see the yellow line across the pool, the graphics are better than ever.
Oh, nice.
You can see the lanes they're in, they're going to want marked off. I'm a big fan.
In addition to the games themselves, social media is also breaking tons of records. People are tweeting this year more than they ever have. Ever since, the Olympics started last Friday, and Twitter said that the number of tweets that happened just in the day following the opening ceremonies was more than they had all for the entire games in 2008.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just in one day, more tweets that happened in the entire Beijing Olympics in 2008.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So much so that, all the information is getting shared on Twitter, right? And then what's happening here is a bit of an issue, right? So NBC... Spoilers. Big deal. So NBC had made the decision to show the Olympics on a tape delay so that they would air during prime time, take advantage of the extra viewership and all of that.
And make some cash.
Right.
With the advertising.
Of course, people are not super pleased with that because, you go to social media and you get all these spoilers. People are tweeting live the results of the different games. So it's messing all sorts of things up. People are really angry at NBC. People are tweeting at NBC or with the hashtag NBCFail, which became a trending hashtag, all about how they were upset about this. There was also a parody Twitter account called NBC Delayed, which was literally tweeting spoilers. Just like to make fun of NBC.
They were just ruining everyone's fun.
Yes, just lots of fun.
I will say
ruined.
NBC has been highly annoying, I think, in the broadcasting as well. I was watching last night women's gymnastics. There's a local Massachusetts woman who's on the U.S. Olympic team, slated to do really well.
Yeah.
So my wife and I were watching it last night. We're enjoying it, and up to 10:40 at night, right? They've gone through the horse, the bars, the beam. Now we're going to the floor exercise, which is where it's going to be decided. Very exciting, a cliffhanger. And what do they do at 10:40? They cut to swimming for the next hour.
Oh, man.
I'm like, come on, you finish it out. Like,
Yeah.
they're doing that to try and hook you in and drag you along, and
Yeah.
it was highly annoying. I ended up falling asleep, but I did wake up when it actually came
Just in
together.
time.
Just in time.
Okay.
It actually did happen that way, and I was
Yeah.
pretty excited, actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so there's lots of like weird artificial stuff going on there. Even NBC is airing some broadcasts like interviews or news stories about close competitions before the games air in the US, which is obviously angering people even more.
What's interesting is it's angered some people so much. There's a journalist that was recently suspended from Twitter.
Oh.
Now, what's interesting is, of course, the Twitter sphere blew up. He was suspended because he criticized NBC. So everybody was saying, "Oh, is Twitter looking at that because of their partnership with NBC, with the,
Right.
the Twitter hub that they have and everything else?" Turns out that's not true. It was actually because he had tweeted an NBC exec's email address.
Oh.
And that actually violates Twitter's terms of service. I'm sure you've read it.
Right. It's like my bedtime reading.
Neither have I, but apparently you can't tweet people's email addresses or their phone numbers without their consent. And if you do, you're subject to having it suspended. So he's actually been reinstated. But it's interesting how quickly people jump on something and
Yeah, that shutting down of someone who's voicing against you never really goes over so well.
no, it was certainly taken in the sense like, should Twitter be really focused on freedom of speech issues and letting anybody say anything they want? And lo and behold, they do try to adhere to that, but they also want to respect the privacy of other individuals.
Yeah.
And that brings us to athletes getting in trouble tweeting.
Oh my goodness, everyone's on Twitter.
Everyone's on Twitter, and they're not all doing positive things. So Olympians, obviously, they're clearly the best at their chosen sport, right? They're at the pinnacle of their performance.
The best of the best.
Absolutely. We actually have an Olympian that works here. She's gold
Yes,
medalist
Colleen.
from the 1998 Nagano Games in hockey. I know she would never do this particular thing, but apparently there are Olympians that are not really aware of the implications of social media.
Oh,
Yes, they're trash talking on Twitter.
they're saying all sorts of terrible things.
They are. In fact, Michael Morganella, he's a Swiss soccer player, a little bit of a tongue twister there. He got kicked out of the Olympics because he was making racially offensive tweets about South Koreans.
Oh, so by trash talking, you mean racist
Yes,
comments.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's,
You're
not
right.
okay.
No, definitely not okay. I don't know I'll get this name right. It looks like it's Vula Papachristou, Greek triple jumper. Kicked out for racist comments against African competitors.
Oh my gosh.
And then, of course, our own Hope Solo. She's the goalie for the U.S. Olympic soccer team, women's soccer team. She's been trash-talking Brandi Chastain, who was an Olympian herself on the soccer team, I think 4 years ago.
Okay.
Now she's doing commentary for this year's event, and Hope's like, Brandi doesn't know what she's talking about, Brandi doesn't know the game, she should learn soccer, blah, blah, blah. So it's causing morale issues on the team.
Oh gosh.
All kinds of issues just with people not playing nice on Twitter.
Yeah. Really, the takeaway here is that everyone is on Twitter. The Olympics show that it's the athletes, it's NBC, it's everyone who's watching. So Twitter's gone mainstream. If you're not on it, it's a big deal. All right. We do
Take
have.
us to the takeaway. Oh, actually, before we do that,
couple of
what's
tweets.
happening on the Twitters?
We're getting compliments.
We are?
Oh, nice. So first, Mike Volpe says, "You guys are so much better than me and Karen Rubin."
That's not true.
Not true, but we appreciate the compliment. And then Artillery Market, our favorite viewer, says, "Well, I didn't want to say anything, but," and retweeted Mike. Ooh, okay.
What else you got?
Mike is saying, advertising on a hashtag your competitor is using, smart move or douchebag move?
Oh, good question.
That's tricky.
What do you think?
I mean, if you're using it to add interesting, relevant, commentary, that might be interesting. But
I think if you're trash talking,
Yeah.
talking on their hashtag, I think that's kind of
right, that's annoying. But if you're just saying something to add to the conversation, I think that's totally fine.
If you're advancing the conversation, yes. If you're being a tool, no.
Like that, I don't mind. It's the spam that I hate. Like
Right.
once your hashtag actually gets trending, you start to get spam or just people wanting to show up with links and whatever.
But
That's more
spam
annoying.
is great with a little cheese on some toast. Oh, sorry. Actually, it's horrible.
Bettina is chiming in and saying, it's a douchebag move. Yeah.
I thought so.
Let us know in the tweets what you think too. Well, that brings us to the tip of the week, which is, we've been talking about how everyone's on social media. There's a ton of great consumer data on there. Think about how you can use it, whether it's listening to see what people are talking about your product so you can improve it, or maybe engaging people in driving the direction of different product choices might be an interesting way to involve your customers, or just piggybacking on big trends. Maybe you can use that to improve your marketing and get more visibility.
I couldn't think of a better tip. That was an Olympic level tip. If I had a gold medal, I would award it to you right now.
I don't have an Olympic medal.
And I would have you stand up on the podium.
Like a gold medal in marketing tips.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should do that. Like marketing Olympics.
We could do that. Let's consider that for next year.
Oh, right. There are all sorts of like copyright stuff. Yeah. That's so mean. We could help promote the Olympics. Anyway.
We'll have to come up with another name for it. But that does bring us to the close of the show. So, Ellie, how was your week? Anything exciting happen?
It was a long week.
Indeed.
It felt like 2 separate weeks. It was the beginning of the month. It was the end of the month and the beginning of the month. So it was a long week. And now I'm excited for the weekend, even though it feels like a Wednesday because it's the 3rd day of the month. But I'll be relaxing, maybe going dancing with some friends.
You're going to bring your glow sticks?
I won't be, but I think you will be.
Yes.
Where are you going to be?
So, my wife and I are actually going to go see a 13-piece disco band at Johnny D's on Saturday night. It's epic. Booty Vortex, I actually played in this band for a short while 9 years ago. It's the real deal. Like all that funk, R&B, and disco stuff, horn section, percussion, keyboard, multiple singers.
I don't think I've ever seen a 13-person
It's fantastic.
band. Yeah. Maybe we'll have to stop by there.
The sound is big and it will be fun.
Cool.
I may be shaking my booty as well.
Enjoy it.
Indeed.
All right.
So that brings us to the end of the show, my friends. Hope you had a great week. We'll see you all next week.